High in the Andes, on a razor-thin mountain ridge, the Incas built a stone city where landslides, earthquakes, and storms never stop. No wheels, no iron, no written language. Yet it still stands perfectly aligned, perfectly drained, and mysteriously abandoned. So the real question is not, what is Machu Picchu? The real problem is, how did the Incas solve challenges that modern engineers still struggle with, and why did they walk away after solving them? When most people hear the name Machu Picchu, they imagine a lost city swallowed by clouds and rediscovered by accident. But that version of the story misses something far more interesting. Machu Picchu was never meant to be found, never meant to grow, and never meant to last forever. This is not a story about discovery. It's a story about design, intention, and disappearance. Let's explain Machu Picchu not as a ruin but as a solution. High above the sacred valley of the Andes, where the air thins and clouds drift like living walls, the Incas made a decision that still confuses the modern world. They chose to build Machu Picchu not on fertile plains, not beside a major river, and not along a trade route, but on a narrow mountain ridge surrounded by steep cliffs and unstable terrain. From the very beginning, this choice creates the central mystery we are trying to solve. Why would one of the most intelligent and organized civilizations on Earth deliberately select one of the most difficult locations imaginable? To understand this, we must first let go of modern logic. Today, cities are built for growth, convenience, and connection. Roads lead in and out, commerce flows freely, and expansion is always expected. Machu Picchu follows none of these rules. There are no signs of large-scale trade. There are no defensive walls designed for armies. There are no permanent roads leading directly to it. Every path is steep, narrow, and easily controlled. This was not a city meant to be visited often, and certainly not by everyone. The mountain itself was part of the answer. In Inca belief, mountains were not just landforms. They were living beings known as apis, powerful spirits that watched over the people. Building a settlement high in the clouds was not an act of arrogance, but of alignment. The Incas believed power flowed from the natural world, and the closer you were to the sky, the closer you were to the divine. Machu Picchu's position allowed it to exist in a sacred balance between earth and heavens, between human intention and cosmic order. But spirituality alone does not explain the extreme risk. The Andes are violent, earthquakes are common, rainfall is relentless, landslides are frequent. Yet instead of avoiding these dangers, the Incas engineered solutions directly into the mountain. Every terrace, every wall, every staircase served more than one purpose. What appears to be architecture is actually a response system. Water is captured, redirected, and released with precision. The ground is layered to breathe and drain. Stones are shaped to move without collapsing. The city does not resist nature. It cooperates with it. This raises a deeper question. If Machu Picchu was so carefully planned, why was it so small? At its peak, only a few hundred people lived here. There was no attempt to turn it into a capital or a population center. That tells us the difficulty of the location was not a flaw, it was the point. Accessibility was never the goal. Isolation was. Machu Picchu was designed to limit who could reach it, who could stay, and who could understand it. In a world where power often came from visibility, the Incas chose concealment. The city's location protected it not just from enemies but from history itself. When the Spanish arrived, they conquered cities that were easy to find and easy to exploit. Machu Picchu remained untouched because it was never meant to be part of the visible world. The core mystery of Machu Picchu is not how it was built, but why it was hidden in plain sight, suspended between danger and brilliance, as if the Incas were solving a problem no one else could even see. When Machu Picchu is described as a lost city, the phrase creates a powerful image of a forgotten world swallowed by jungle, waiting centuries to be rediscovered. But this idea, while dramatic, hides a deeper truth. Machu Picchu was never truly lost. It was simply unseen by the people who later claimed to have discovered it. The story of loss, in this case, tells us more about who was looking and who was ignored than about the city itself. Long before outsiders arrived, local indigenous communities living in the Andes knew of the ruins. Farmers passed by the terraces. Families lived nearby. The mountain was part of their landscape and memory. It did not vanish from their world. What disappeared was Machu Picchu's place within a global narrative shaped by colonial history. When Western explorers finally documented the site in the early 20th century, they framed it as a miraculous rediscovery, as if history had gone silent until they arrived to give it a voice. This framing matters because it changes how we understand Machu Picchu's purpose. A truly lost city suggests abandonment and failure. A hidden city suggests intention. The Incas were masters of selective visibility. Their empire stretched across thousands of miles, yet they carefully controlled which places were meant to be seen and which were meant to remain remote. Machu Picchu belonged to the second category. It was not erased by time. It was protected by geography, vegetation, and silence. The Spanish conquest reinforces this idea. When the conquistadors invaded the Inca Empire, they captured major cities, destroyed temples, and documented what they encountered. Yet Machu Picchu never appears in Spanish records. This absence is not accidental. The routes leading to the city were narrow and easily abandoned. Without guides who understood its importance, the site was effectively invisible. Machu Picchu survived because it existed outside the networks of power that the Spanish relied on to dominate the region. Calling Machu Picchu lost also suggests that it was incomplete or unfinished, but archaeological evidence tells a different story. The city was fully functional. Its water systems worked, its agricultural terraces were productive. Its ceremonial spaces were precisely aligned. What ended was not the city's life, but the system that sustained it. When disease and invasion shattered the Inca administrative structure, specialized sites like Machu Picchu no longer had a role to play. With no empire to support it, the city was quietly left behind. The jungle did not reclaim Machu Picchu because it failed. It reclaimed it because no one returned to maintain it. Nature did not destroy the site. It preserved it. Stone structures remained intact beneath layers of vegetation, protected from looters, builders, and reformers. In a strange way, being mislabeled as lost allowed Machu Picchu to remain, exactly as it was intended. The word lost also reveals a deeper problem in how history is told. It often assumes that discovery only counts when it is recognized by the modern world. Everything else becomes invisible. Machu Picchu challenges this assumption. It reminds us that history does not disappear just because it falls outside certain perspectives. The city continued to exist, unchanged, waiting not to be found, but to be understood. At first glance, Machu Picchu appears fragile, as if one strong storm or earthquake could send it sliding down the mountain. The reality is the opposite. This city is one of the most sophisticated examples of ancient engineering ever created, designed not to dominate nature, but to survive within it. The Incas faced an environment that actively worked against human settlement, and instead of retreating, they turned every natural threat into a structural advantage. The greatest enemy was water. In the Andes, rainfall is intense and unpredictable. Too much water can rot crops, weaken foundations, and trigger landslides. Too little water can make survival impossible. The Incas solved this problem with a system so advanced that modern engineers still study it today. Natural springs above the city were carefully captured and channeled through stone-lined canals, delivering clean water throughout the settlement. But what truly sets Machu Picchu apart is what happens to the excess. Beneath the stone floors and agricultural terraces lies a hidden network of drainage layers made of gravel, sand, and crushed rock. This allowed rainwater to pass through the city without building pressure, preventing floods and erosion. The terraces themselves were not just for farming. Each level acted like a shock absorber, stabilizing the mountain slope. By cutting the mountain into steps, the Incas reduced the risk of massive landslides while creating fertile land in a place where agriculture should have been impossible. Every terrace was built with a slight inward tilt, directing water away from the outer edges and back into controlled channels. This meant the city could endure season after season of heavy rain without collapsing. Then there was the constant threat of earthquakes. Machu Picchu sits in a seismic zone where the ground regularly shifts and cracks. The Incas had no steel reinforcements, no concrete, and no modern tools. What they did have was an extraordinary understanding of stone behavior. walls were built using a technique that allowed stones to move during tremors and then settle back into place. The iconic trapezoidal doorways and windows were not decorative choices. They distributed stress and prevented collapse. The slight inward lean of the walls added even more stability, allowing the structures to flex instead of fracture. Even the way stones were shaped played a role in survival. Each block was carved to fit its neighbors perfectly, creating tight joints that resisted movement while allowing micro-adjustments during seismic activity. This meant that instead of shattering, the buildings absorbed energy. Over centuries of earthquakes, the city endured while later colonial structures built with mortar crumbled around it. What makes this engineering even more remarkable is the absence of written plans or blueprints. Knowledge was passed through experience, observation, and tradition. The Incas read the land like a living document, understanding how water flowed, how rock fractured, and how soil behaved under pressure. Machu Picchu is not a collection of buildings placed on a mountain. It is a single integrated system where architecture, geology, and climate work together. Every stone laid at Machu Picchu represents a decision made in response to nature's challenges. The city exists because the Incas accepted those challenges instead of trying to erase them, creating a place that feels less like something built against the mountain and more like something that grew out of it. For more than a century, Machu Picchu has been studied, measured, and argued over, yet one question still refuses to settle. Why was it built in the first place? Unlike other Inca sites, Machu Picchu does not announce its purpose clearly. There are no written records to explain its function, no inscriptions declaring its role, and no obvious signs that point to a single use. Instead, the city presents clues that pull us in different directions, forcing historians to debate whether Machu Picchu was a royal estate, a sacred sanctuary, or something far more complex. One of the strongest theories suggests Machu Picchu was a royal retreat built for the Inca Emperor Pachacati, the ruler responsible for transforming the Inca state into a powerful empire. The quality of the stonework supports this idea. Some structures were built with extraordinary precision, far exceeding what was used in ordinary settlements. The presence of elite residences, private courtyards, and restricted access areas suggests that important individuals once lived here, separated from common workers. From this perspective, Machu Picchu becomes a place of privilege, designed for rest, ceremony, and reflection rather than administration or warfare. But this explanation leaves unanswered questions. If Machu Picchu was simply a royal estate, why was it designed with such strong astronomical alignments? Structures like the Intihuatana stone and carefully positioned windows interact with the sun during solstices and equinoxes. These alignments indicate ritual significance tied to Inca cosmology. The Incas believed the sun was a divine ancestor, and controlling its movement symbolized harmony between humans and the universe. This suggests Machu Picchu functioned as a sacred space where ceremonies reinforced cosmic order. Another theory argues that Machu Picchu was a religious sanctuary, possibly connected to the worship of mountain spirits and celestial forces. The surrounding peaks were considered powerful deities, and the city appears positioned to interact visually and symbolically with them. Certain paths and plazas guide movement in ways that feel ceremonial rather than practical. The layout encouraged processions, controlled access, and moments of revelation, all hallmarks of ritual architecture. Yet even this theory falls short on its own. Machu Picchu contains agricultural zones, storage facilities, and residential areas that imply long-term habitation. This was not a temple complex visited only during festivals. People lived, worked, and maintained the city year-round. The diversity of structures suggests a population with varied roles, from priests and nobles to skilled laborers and caretakers. This is where a more nuanced understanding begins to emerge. Machu Picchu may not fit into a single category because it was never meant to. Instead, it appears to have been a multifunctional space designed to serve overlapping purposes. It could function as a royal estate during certain seasons, a ceremonial center during important celestial events, and a symbol of imperial power embedded in the natural world. The city's isolation strengthens this interpretation. By placing Machu Picchu far from political centers, the Incas created a space where power, spirituality, and nature could converge. Without interference, It was removed from everyday governance, yet deeply connected to the ideological heart of the empire. Machu Picchu was not about ruling people directly, but about reinforcing the beliefs that made the empire possible in the first place. Most ancient cities meet dramatic ends. They are burned, invaded, looted, or slowly torn apart by those who come after. Machu Picchu does not fit this pattern, and that is what makes its abandonment so unsettling. There are no layers of ash, no signs of large-scale violence, no evidence of siege or collapse. Instead, the city feels paused, as if life simply stepped away and never returned. Understanding this silent departure is essential to understanding Machu Picchu itself. Archaeological evidence suggests that Machu Picchu was occupied for less than a century. That alone is surprising given the effort required to build it. Thousands of stones were cut, transported, and fitted with incredible precision. Terraces were carved into mountainsides. Water systems were engineered deep into the rock. No civilization invests this much energy into a place without a clear purpose. And yet, when the Inca Empire began to unravel in the 16th century, Machu Picchu was quietly abandoned. Disease played a critical role. Before the Spanish ever reached the high Andes, European illnesses like smallpox spread faster than armies. These diseases devastated Inca populations, killing rulers, priests, and skilled workers. The administrative networks that supplied food, labor, and organization began to fail. Specialized sites like Machu Picchu depended entirely on this system. Without a functioning empire to support it, maintaining such a remote settlement became impossible. What is striking is that abandonment was orderly. Valuable objects were taken, sacred items were removed. Structures were not dismantled or repurposed. This suggests that the people who left Machu Picchu did not flee in panic. They left with intention, possibly believing they might return. The city was closed rather than destroyed, preserved rather than erased. The Spanish conquest accelerated this process. As conquistadors seized major cities and imposed new political and religious systems, the Inca way of life was systematically dismantled. Machu Picchu, isolated and no longer connected to power or trade, lost its relevance. It was not worth defending, not worth revealing, and not worth adapting to colonial rule. In that sense, its survival was a side effect of its irrelevance to the conquerors. Nature then took over as caretaker. Jungle vegetation grew around the stone walls. Soil accumulated on terraces. Trees rooted themselves in abandoned spaces. But the engineering beneath the surface continued to work. Drainage channels still carried rainwater away. Foundations still held the mountain in place. The city endured centuries of neglect without collapsing, a testament to how carefully it had been designed. Abandonment without destruction challenges the way we think about historical endings. Machu Picchu did not fall because it failed. It fell because the system that gave it meaning disappeared. Once the Inca Empire collapsed, the city no longer had a role to play. Its purpose was tied to a worldview, not to survival at any cost. The silence of Machu Picchu is not empty. It speaks of a civilization that knew when to build, when to use, and when to walk away. The absence of destruction is not a mystery to be solved with violence or catastrophe, but with understanding of how deeply connected the city was to the empire that created it. To truly understand Machu Picchu, it cannot be viewed as an isolated marvel frozen in time. It must be seen as part of a much larger strategy that defined how the Inca Empire understood power, space, and control. The Incas did not rule primarily through written laws or permanent military presence. They ruled through systems, networks of roads, sacred sites, agricultural zones, and symbolic landscapes that bound people, nature, and belief into a single functioning whole. The Inca Empire stretched across diverse environments, from coastal deserts to high mountains and dense jungles. Managing such a variety requires more than force. It required psychological authority and spiritual legitimacy. Machu Picchu fit into this system as a node of meaning rather than administration. It was not a capital where decisions were made, but a place where those decisions were justified through ritual and alignment with the natural world. The Incas believed that order in the human world depended on balance in the cosmic one. Mountains, rivers, and celestial bodies were not resources to be exploited but partners in governance. Machu Picchu's placement among sacred peaks was a statement of this philosophy. By situating important sites within powerful landscapes, the Incas reinforced the idea that their rule was sanctioned by the universe itself. Authority flowed from the land, and the land was carefully chosen. This strategy extended beyond Machu Picchu. Across the empire, certain locations were deliberately elevated, hidden, or restricted. These were not mistakes of planning. They were expressions of control. Accessibility was managed. Movement was guided, knowledge was limited. Machu Picchu's isolation ensured that only those with permission and purpose could reach it, reinforcing hierarchy without visible force. The road system offers another clue. The Incas built thousands of miles of roads, yet Machu Picchu was never directly integrated into the main network. This separation suggests it served a specialized role. It existed close enough to be supplied, but distant enough to remain apart. This balance allowed Machu Picchu to function as a space removed from daily politics while still connected to imperial logistics. Labor organization also reveals strategic intent. The Incas used a system known as meta, where communities contributed labor to state projects. Machu Picchu was likely built and maintained through this system, drawing skilled workers from across the empire. This meant the city was not just a physical structure, but a collective effort that reinforced loyalty and shared identity. Participating in its creation connected people to imperial power in a tangible way. Even the decision to abandon Machu Picchu reflects strategic thinking. When the empire collapsed, the city no longer served its role within the larger system. Rather than adapting it to new conditions or exposing it to colonial control, it was left behind. This preserved its meaning even as its function ended. Machu Picchu represents the Inca approach to civilization itself. It shows a society focused less on permanence and more on harmony, less on expansion and more on balance. The city was a tool, not an endpoint. It was designed to work within a specific historical moment, serving a specific ideological purpose, and when that moment passed, it was allowed to fade back into the landscape from which it came. Machu Picchu is often called a lost city, but the truth is far more fascinating. It was never lost to those who mattered. It was deliberately hidden, carefully designed, and perfectly integrated with its environment. Every stone, terrace, and channel tells a story of ingenuity, spirituality, and intention. From its precarious mountain perch to its sophisticated engineering, from its role as a royal retreat to its sacred alignments, Machu Picchu was a city built not for survival alone, but for harmony with nature, power, and belief. Its abandonment, far from being a dramatic collapse, reveals the brilliance of Inca strategy. They built for purpose, not permanence. And once the empire that gave it meaning disappeared, the city's role quietly ended without destruction. Machu Picchu stands today not just as a monument to Inca architecture, but as a testament to a civilization that mastered the art of negotiating with nature, controlling perception, and designing systems that extended far beyond mere walls and terraces. In the end, Machu Picchu is not just a place in the clouds, it is a window into the mind of the Incas, a civilization that understood that true power lies in balance, foresight, and the silent authority of design. It challenges us to see history not as a series of conquests and ruins, but as a network of ideas, strategies, and relationships that continue to speak to us centuries later.